So an important decision that has been taken in the Supreme Court, an order releasing all the convicts in the Rajiv Gandhi assassination case, has led to a huge discussion. In fact, many political stakeholders are now questioning whether this is the right thing to do, because this will set a sort of a precedent. The Congress party's view is quite divergent from the views of the Gandhi family. In fact, the Congress leadership or the Congress party, not the Gandhis, are speaking exactly what the central government is saying. That how will it sit in a country where convicted terrorists are going to be released? That's the big question that we are asking. And how does this play out, both politically as well as legally? We have with us Rakesh Dwivedi, Senior Advocate of the Supreme Court, N. Ram, Director of the Hindu Publishing Group, Ramchandra Rao is from the BJP, Mr. Pugayendi, National Spokesperson of the AIA-DMK, Dr. S. Hafizullah, DMK spokesperson, and we also have Manikambi Tagore, Lok Sabha MP of the Congress Party. Thank you very much, all of you. First of all, the legal view. Mr. Dwivedi, I want to know from you, how does this sit? If you could explain for the benefit of our viewers, what were the arguments that the Supreme Court heard post which this decision was taken? The logic, basically.
When the first round of litigation happened before a 5-judges constitution bench some 4 or 5 years back, then an issue had arisen on account of the union challenging a notice issued by the government of Tamil Nadu, which required them to take a call about release within a specified time. So the Supreme Court in that case had held that though all other offences which were involved, the sentences have been served out, only section 302 IPC remained, with respect to which life imprisonment had been granted to these convicts. So the state of Tamil Nadu had full jurisdiction to grant release to them. Now in that context, subsequently, as we know that in Tamil Nadu, the general perception amongst the public and in the Legislative Assembly, a unanimous resolution had been passed. So finally, the government seems to have taken a decision that they should be released. But the governor refused to sign it, and he sent the matter to the union government for its decision. Now that was again a matter of challenge in Pararivalan's case some 4 or 5 months back. And in that, it was held by the Supreme Court that once the cabinet has taken a decision, then the governor has no discretion left except to sign it, and he had no business to forward the matter to the union government. And even otherwise, public order is in list 2 of the 7 schedules. So with respect to 302, it is the state government alone which has to take a decision, not the union. So union has no role to play. Now that decision has not been challenged either by any political party or the Congress party or the Gandhi family or the union government. Subsequently, no review, etc. has been filed. So the matter rested there, that the cabinet has taken a decision to release. And since the government of Tamil Nadu has taken a decision, the Supreme Court itself directed under Article 142 that since they have served more than 30 years in the jail, correct, it serves no purpose in keeping them now in jail. Now, following that precedent, today, the remaining 6 accused, the convicts, they also filed, and they were also granted similar relief. And I do not understand why there should be so much hue and cry about it, because although he was a tall leader, and this kind of assassinations are to be deprecated, and nobody can take a light stand, and 30 years is not a small time, it's a small period. Now, if you recollect that long time back when Mahatma Gandhi was assassinated, then Gopal Godse, who had got a life imprisonment, then all the family members of the Mahatma Gandhi, they had written to Jawaharlal Nehru to release them. Ultimately, matter went to Supreme Court. In 1961, the Supreme Court said that only the government can release, not the court.
Correct.
And finally, within 3 years, the government released.
Okay,
So
okay.
no
I get
person-
the point that you're trying to make, but Mr. N. Ram,
Rajiv
you
Gandhi
see,
is not a taller leader than Mahatma Gandhi. If he could be released in 16 years, I'm sure 30 years is double the time. What's the sense in keeping them in, especially when Priyanka Gandhi has visited Nalini and the jail? And so I think the broad consensus is, and the human rights require, that such a long incarceration
yeah, while
is,
while,
you know,
while I agree with and I don't dispute your facts, but you see, Mr. N. Ram, here we are talking about the assassination of a former prime minister, and the view generally of the Congress party, not the family of the Congress party, is that convicted terrorists, people who have been convicted of assassinating a former prime minister, when they will be let off, then there will be a precedent. And how does the court then intend to answer these contradictions?
Sanket, I used to believe that in cases like this, life means life. But I am persuaded by what the senior counsel has just explained. I don't think it will set a precedent in the sense that every person who approaches the court will get relief, because it depends on, in a sense, on a case-by-case basis, the satisfactory conduct in this long incarceration in the law, and then whether they've done something to improve their capabilities, whether they've contributed something in the creative space and so on. So I think the court will look at those things as well. But the point here is the two main political parties are united in this in the state, are very clear that the time has come for them to be released. And secondly, I think that's very, very important. The governor had no business just keeping it in his pocket or in his table for such a long period. That, I think, is a factor that must be taken into account. And then to send it to the wrong address instead of acting, I think, is completely unacceptable. And I think this is a blow, a small blow for what the Constitution empowers the states to do. One of the few things that have happened in favor of state rights is this, that the governor, who in the case of Tamil Nadu, he has been holding several bills, just blocking them. Then what respect does the state legislature have, or the executive of the state? Which is,
Mr. N. Ram, would you not like to make a distinction between the other bills being held up by the governor, allegedly, and something as serious as this? Because while you say that state political parties are united in favoring this decision, you've got the two national parties that are dead opposed to what has happened in the Supreme Court.
Yeah, they have the least stake because they are very minor players in the state of Tamil Nadu. And I really appreciate what Priyanka Gandhi did. I was of the view earlier, life is life for a heinous offense, assassination, not just murder, or something. It changed the course of Indian politics. So I was of that view, but taking all things into consideration, I think they've done right. Public sentiment is also in favor of this. These people, it is really justice tempered by mercy, and the Supreme Court, I think, has got it right.
Okay, Ramchandra Rao of the Bharatiya Janata Party. How do you view this decision? I mean, this is, as Mr. N. Ram said, as Rakesh Dwivedi said, and I'm sure DMK and ADMK spokespersons are also going to echo the same sentiment. But how do you look at this decision? We've all heard what the Congress's view is. Mr. Ramchandra Rao.
Yeah. So, in fact, this is as just now Mr. Ram said, that this is a legal decision tempered with humanity or public sentiment, whatever it may be. But it is one of the rarest cases that the Supreme Court has taken such a decision where people who are accused of killing the Prime Minister and indulging in a terrorist activity are being let off. In fact, the courts have time and again cleared it. Life means life. But under what circumstances they are being left? In fact, this is a case where Honorable Prime Minister of this country had been assassinated, and a lot of other people have died in this case. So those sentiments are also necessary to look after when such a decision is taken. Now, the fact remains that the family member of Sri Rajiv Gandhi late Sri Rajiv Gandhi, met the assassins, and they were also very sympathetic to them. But however, that should not have influenced the court while taking a decision. I think law for everyone should be one, and law for terrorists should be firm in this country. Otherwise, there will not be any deterrent, and that's what I feel. That maybe it is special power used by Supreme Court. We will not go into it. But as far as the relieving of some terrorists by the court in such a serious matter, I think it is a matter to have concern to think over. There may be sentiment and other things may stand in its own place. But I don't think that law should also be so sympathetic to the people who have killed the Prime Minister and who had participated in the terrorist activities.
Right. Mr. Puguyendi and Hafizullah, your views one by one, please.
Good evening to NDTV. One of the convicts person was...
Yeah, I can hear you. Please go ahead, Mr. Hafizullah.
No, okay. So it's my turn. It was started with Puguyendi, so I was just waiting for my turn. So first we should understand that the Indian criminal system and Indian criminal law is not retributive, but it is reformative. So the grounds which the Supreme Court or the Assembly of Tamil Nadu took was the conduct. Nobody is here defending that they were being acquitted or they are not convicted. That is not the view. It is a reformative stand of the government of the Supreme Court that stands. And we have been telling that governors are misusing their powers, abusing their powers, or being lethargic in executing their duty. That is what Supreme Court said when it came to Perarivalan's issue, when it came to the issue of the 6 convicts that have been released today. So my dear friend who spoke some time back, who said that the law should not be sympathetic, I want to know which law was sympathetic to the killers of Bilkis Banu's family. They were released by the Gujarat government. You never questioned the law at that time. This is at least 30 years of judicial scrutiny, and with the
how do you say that you never questioned? Of course we did.
No, not you. I mean the BJP spokesperson, sir.
Yeah.
I mean the BJP spokesperson who is being hypocritical here. So next, when this judgment or this release is outcome of a judicial intervention from the apex court. It is not just a resolution alone like the Bilkis Banu case. So the law is the reformative criminal system is what it stands, and it is not given on mercy alone, sir. The conduct of all the 7 convicts here, they have done their education, they have contributed their earnings when they were disastrous in Tamil Nadu. All these issues, along with humanity, was considered in letting them free out of the jail.
Yeah.
So that is the point that we want to emphasize. It is as long as the reformative criminal system is there, there is going to be a liberty for every citizen to use the liberty that the Constitution gives to him. It is the DMK government which supported a common citizen, though he is a convict, to enjoy the liberty that the Constitution gives to him.
Okay, Prashant Pratap Singh.
That means...
Prashant Pratap Singh, I want to come to you now and I want to ask you, how does it sit within your party that the Congress tall leadership, the High Command or the Gandhis have another view and your party has another view? Are they not the party? How is it that you have been able to make this distinction within your party on what is the Gandhis' view and what is the Congress party's view?
The party is very clear on, and we have released a statement. It clearly says the decision of the Supreme Court to free the remaining killers for former Prime Minister Sri Rajiv Gandhi is totally unacceptable and completely erroneous. The Congress party criticizes it clearly and finds it wholly untenable. So when we talk about the Gandhis, it's very personal to them. It's a personal space. That's the feeling they had. But not to forget, Shri, as you mentioned, Rajiv Gandhi is our previous Prime Minister. He was murdered in cold blood, and this is a terrorist act. Just think about it. If this was Kasab, and in case of Kasab, would we be talking about retributive and non-reformative sentence? They have been released after 30 years, but their sentences have been, and the Supreme Court has used Article 142, which we don't agree with. It gives them the power, discretionary power, to release these convicts. But why now this is the precedent which they are setting is so dangerous. Now these can be used for other people as well. So we as Congress party do not agree with this completely. If you look at it,
I'm still quite perplexed how the Congress party chooses to manage this contradiction of the Gandhis believing in something else and the party believing in something else. One of those rare moments where you don't agree with the Gandhis, is it?
As I said, as a common citizen, think about it. Do you think a previous prime minister has been killed? Would you be okay if the convicts get released? And when you're coming to that's a very personal space. That is the forgiveness is something that they would have believed in and they would want to. But as in law, when it comes to law.
Okay, one moment. Mr. Pugayendi wants to come in, national spokesperson of the AIADMK. Mr. Pugayendi, you have heard the views of the Congress spokesperson.
Long legal battle has come to the end now. This is very important that I am asking the Congress spokesperson. Sir, very clear, our Rahul Gandhi ji, leader of the Congress, and Mr. Sonia Gandhi ji, and also Priyanka Gandhi ji, all are them for forgiving them, that themselves they have forgiven them, met in the jail, that Vellore jail, after came out, given the press statement, already we have forgiven. Sir, they have struggled continuously more than 30 years. They have lost the life, everything is gone. Now again, same thing, because Mr. Ram mentioned very clear, Hindu Ram sir, because this governor kept this, not decided anything, kept it pending, this decision is not taken more than a year. After that only, former Chief Minister, our beloved leader, Madam Jayalalitha, passed the resolution in the Assembly after the Supreme Court verdict. Now also one of the convicts, the Perarivalan, that after was released, following the same now. They are now Apex Court given the verdict now. These things are going on. What I am saying, enough, more than enough. But this you cannot compare with others, because that another person you told came from Pakistan, other country, and killed or something. That is directly involved. So here they have struggled a lot.
No, I'm only trying to understand. Yes, Mr. N. Ram. I'm only trying to understand the assassination of a former prime minister is an act of terror.
No,
what Kasab did was an act of terror. Terror is terror. How do we make this distinction is what I want to know. Mr. N. Ram, please.
May I come in on that point?
Yes,
please.
Yes, sir.
If you look at the facts, the Supreme Court judgment on the assassination case, finally it was ruled that it was not a terrorism offense. If you look at the judgment now, I just want to recall this, that and they went into it in some detail, what is terrorism. So there also it falls to the ground. It was horrible. It is arguable, I think. I think clearly it was a terrorism offense in a political sense. But according to the law, if you go back to the judgment, it didn't comply with the requirements to brand it as a terrorism offense. You can check that, and our senior counsel may have something to say on that issue as well.
They were acquitted of the charge of terrorism.
Yeah.
This Ajmal case is entirely different.
Okay. One moment. Hafizullah wanted to come in.
Yes. I just want to agree with what Ram sir said. That is what I wanted to point it out. It is not a terrorism case. It was conducted as a trial for murder. So the whole it is a 302. It is nothing more. It is a 302 section. That is the ground. That is the ground that the Supreme Court said that the executive power lies with the executive power lies with the
N. Ram, please. Mr. Ram wants to come in, and then
I really want to place on record my admiration for all members of the immediate Rajiv Gandhi family for the nobility they have shown in this respect. That's an important part. And the Congress, what appears to be a contradiction is really not that. And that was explained. So I think it was remarkable. It is exceptional, particularly the way Priyanka Gandhi initiated that. And Rahul at one time said, I'm not on the same page or something, but overall, after all, for Nalini's case, the death sentence was commuted after the intervention of Sonia Gandhi. So these are special things in politics. So I think that sentiment, that kind of nobility has to be appreciated in this context.
Prashant Pratap Singh, how would you respond? I mean, many stakeholders there in Tamil Nadu look at the action of your top leaders, as an act of, it's a very noble act.
I'm shocked as, when they talk about this not being a terrorist act and even the Supreme Court not classifying it. I will come to that, but before that, again, I will repeat, this was very personal. It is a very personal affair to the Gandhis. This is something, as you know, you don't have to keep hatred within yourself, and you have to let go of it. And the first act is forgiveness. But here, we are talking about law. And in law, where a former prime minister has been assassinated in cold blood, we all know the story, how LTT, and when he was acting for the state, he was the prime minister of India when he sent the peacekeeping force. So when he was an acting peacekeeper acting as prime minister for the state, and in retaliation to that. So if this is not terrorism, how can you classify it under 302? So that is the first disagreement I have, and with the Supreme Court, where they are not classifying and using 142. They are using their discretionary power and letting go of these convicts. It's shameful and it's disgusting. The second thing is, coming to the fellow panelists, you talk about it because it's third party, and you're doing it for your political gains because they come from the same region. But if you look at it as a third person or an Indian citizen, would you be okay? The current prime minister, if something happens to him, I would not be okay, whether I agree with his decisions or not.
This is something that I would not even want to discuss.
This is not
even hypothetically.
Hypothetically,
I mean, let's not go to these hypothetical conditions. The only point that one wants to make over here is two things.
The point here is,
number one, do we oppose the idea of what the Supreme Court has said? Number one.
The point, exactly.
And number two, how does the Congress party explain a contradiction?
I clearly told you.
Rakesh Dwivedi.
Yes, so...
How would you respond to the Congress party, Dr.
Yeah.
Abhishek Manu Singhvi, saying that this will set a precedent, that even other cases of lesser intensity may use this as an example?
Let me first of all condemn the speaker for using the expressions shameful, etc. for the Supreme Court's judgment. It is highly contemptuous, so it's a warning to him. The second thing is, he should have read the judgments of Parariwalan in this judgment very carefully. Supreme Court has exercised power of 142 only because the cabinet of the government of Tamil Nadu has already taken a decision, and they are the authority to take a decision for commutation. And therefore, the Supreme Court said that it is no use sending the matter back because the government has already taken a decision, and therefore this. So coming to the third question of precedent, the Congress must first answer why did they left Gopal Godse after 16 years? Was that not a precedent? Fourth point is, every case, even if they think that this is terrorism, every case of terrorism is not identical. As Mr. Ram said, that you have to go case by case. Here is a case where these are 6-7 persons who played a very minor role, and some of them are not even aware as to what the other person is doing and what for it is being done. And there was a particular political background also. The LTT was there at that time as a force which was fighting in Sri Lanka, and they were agreed by the IPKF being sent to Sri Lanka. Now that LTT has disappeared, all that political background has disappeared. So there was certain element of by which these people may have been got involved into this conspiracy. So therefore, this is a case which is of a peculiar kind, and it had a particular background, and these people are not the main actors, and they have suffered enormously by 30 years. There's hardly an incident, double the time Gopal Godse spent. So let us not talk about precedent. Precedent was set in 1964, 16 years. But here it is 30 years.
Sure. Okay. Prashant Pratap Singh, Mr. Hafizullah, Mr. Pugayendi, Ramchandra Rao, N. Ram, as well as Rakesh Dwivedi. Many thanks for joining us on this discussion. Thank you so much.